What's up, Tweener heads? Welcome back to another Tweener head tennis video today on our channel. If you are new to the channel, hey, how's it going? My name's Phil, and this is where we talk about tennis in a more casual way for you guys to find out what's going on and off the court, as well as to have some fun with the sport of tennis. Now, today we are doing a video with producer from the YouTube channel, The Slice, Beckett Chung. We're talking about tennis shoes, but we go into a bit more of a deeper conversation about the culture of tennis, what shoe culture is like in the tennis world, if there is any for that fact. We want to dive into the realm of understanding what the shoe game is like, because while I met him in Florida, we bonded over our love for tennis shoes and my shoes that I was wearing at the time, the Jordan Atmos 3s, and they're my pride and joy. He always wears a pair of Agassi Hot Lavas, and I absolutely love them. So take a listen to our video that we did together. It's a lot of fun, but before you listen in, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We are on our way to 1,000 subscribers, so if you can help us on that journey, it would mean a lot. So without further ado, here's our tennis shoe talk with producer from The Slice, Beckett Chung. All right, so Beckett, let's talk about shoes. You are the first, when we first met, Beckett saw I was wearing my Roger Federer Jordan 3 Atmos shoes, which are my prized possession. I still keep the shoe box. I still try to maintain their cleanliness. How big of a sneakerhead are you?
I'm not massively into them.
Okay.
Like, I have my niche, but like I'm not the kind of guy who's like reaching into like Dunk archives, like
Okay.
picking up, like dropping like $3,000 on.
Okay.
Skate shoes.
That's fair. I feel for myself, I will look for certain ones and I'll read about the newest ones, but I won't seek out that pair from like 1980 that was like one of 500 to be released, you know?
Yeah, like I'm fine with just getting re-releases.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to spend like 3 times as much for an OG. Like,
Yeah. I agree. And when I met Beckett in Delray, you had the Andre Agassi, what was it, the Hot Lava
yeah, Hot
sneaker?
Lava, AirTech Challenge 2s.
Which year? The originals or the 2014 releases?
They're actually 2019 re-release.
Really?
Yeah, so the story about me getting those is I find out they're coming out. I'm like, oh, damn, I'm so poor. I can't buy shoes right now.
Okay.
So I'm at the Nike store in Vancouver trying them on. Like, man, I want these. And I stop myself. And like 8 months later, and then they like sold out.
Okay.
So 8 months later, I'm just like on Foot Locker and there's like one random size of AirTech Challenge 2s in my size. I'm just like, okay, I missed out last time. I'm not going to be stupid because these re-released like only 5 years ago. They're not going to come out again for probably like 5 more years.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, did you see the new Nike shoe that they just released? They released that colorway for tennis shoes. Did you see that one?
Yeah, the like the AirTech Challenge 20 or whatever.
Yeah, it's like the low top kind of
Yeah,
thing. What'd you think of those?
I didn't like them. Steven and I
Really?
we did a review on it actually.
Okay.
So I like bought them, tried them on. I don't get the point of them. Like, they're
Really?
supposed to be for performance, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen them?
I've seen them, but I haven't had the chance to try them on or see them in person. How would you describe them as?
They're like a takedown shoe. They feel like quite cheap.
Really?
Yeah,
What's the retail price in Canadian dollars?
165.
So that's probably around 140 for American. It's,
It's like just below premium price.
it surprises me though, because I feel like they've been Nike and all these, and Adidas, they did this with Edberg's shoe when they re-released Edberg's Adidas colorway, but in the newer version of, I think, the Ubersonics or whatever. And they're trying to kind of recreate that nostalgia, but it just doesn't seem to be working, at least from your perspective. The technology is just not there.
It's, yeah, at least when Adidas did it, they put in an actual performance model, but Nike tried to like to put this new silhouette, but
Okay.
no pro is ever gonna wear it. Like, it's just not at that level.
So how do you think it's going to be on the sale rack anytime soon? Because I might
Yeah.
just buy it if it's going to go on the sale rack.
It's gonna. I don't know who wants to buy it, honestly. Like, you'll see it at outlets in like
Really?
reasonable amount of time. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I because in this time I think a lot of people are just online shopping for fun at this point because there's nothing else to do. So I think that would be a shoe that I would kind of, if it goes below 100, I'm just gonna buy it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I'm sure they'll be easy to get for like 30% off or whatever.
That would sound nice. That sounds really nice. I feel bad because you bought them at full price.
Yeah, I definitely didn't return them after I reviewed them.
That's too bad. What do you think? What do you think's the best performance-wise? What's the best tennis shoe you've worn?
Like right now, or like my all-time. Like, I remember that shoe as something being one that I liked.
Let's go with right now, and then what's the best shoe you've ever worn while playing tennis?
Right now, I really like the Vapors.
Okay.
I've tried the knit and the normal. I think the normal's a little bit better. The knit is, um,
Is it lighter?
no, it's heavier, but I don't care about that. I don't care about the weight, really.
Really?
It's a little more narrow through like my midfoot, so it kind of squishes me in the wrong place.
Okay.
So just the like plain old one. That's
Okay.
my like match day shoe.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's your favorite? Is that your favorite of all time, or is that
So my favorite of all time is the Court Ballistic 4.3.
which one was that? The
So it's like 2012 to 2014 Nadal shoe or something.
Oh yeah. Was
Yeah.
that the that wasn't the cages, was it?
No, it was like they had kind of like that cage thing on the front.
Yeah.
They were Air Max.
Interesting.
And then, yeah, so Rafa actually, like, if you know how all the pros are wearing like pro stock shoes, right?
Yeah. Like
So
their own custom pro stock.
yeah, his is basically that shoe, but then they glue whatever new upper on the outside.
Really?
Yeah,
How'd you find that out?
you just gotta look at the pictures and like it's so. If you just know what to look for and you can look at the silhouette and then like covered over Air Max bubbles and stuff, like it's pretty.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. How did you first find that out? Did you like see a picture and you Googled it, or did someone tell you it?
I just like go on talk tennis warehouse all the time.
Oh, you go to their forum page?
Forum.
Yeah.
It's like all those nerds, and they'll like have like the actual one will be like, look, this is not real.
Really? Oh my. I feel like that's like, you don't see that in tennis. You see that in every other sport. You see it in basketball. Let's see, basketball, soccer, you can see it in the cleats. Like when they black out their cleats, when they're changing sponsors or they're still using one. It's weird because in tennis, we haven't really seen a collab of players until Nick and Kyrie did it.
Yeah, well, I think what the people in tennis just don't care about shoes yet for some reason.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. Well, I think they used to for sure because you used to have player branded shoes like Stan Smiths and Rod Lavers and all those.
And McEnroe's too with the high top Nikes.
Yeah. Like tennis was cool in like the 70s and the 80s, and then it stopped being cool.
When did you think it stopped being cool? To be honest, I think it was when Sampras started winning.
That's kind of what I'm thinking too, yeah.
Because listen, to people that are watching this or listening to this, Pete Sampras was one of the all-time greats. 14 Grand Slams, the epitome of perfection on grass, the Nike clean cut, Wilson clean cut. But in terms of, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not going to say sex appeal, but just marketing wise, how do you promote someone like that with certain clothing? You know?
Yeah, like he's such an Iceman. Like
That's it.
right? Like he's an Iceman. He doesn't really want to chat off court or off camera. He's there to win, and that's it.
That's it. And that's not really how the sport sells. And I think what we saw in other sports, I think the greatness and the promotion that they had and all these commercials that they put around it, like Agassi, like I have Agassi's. I think this is a Nike poster. It's mowing the lawn right behind me. And I
Hmm.
think the way they advertised him compared to every other athlete with Nike, it was just so different that they need to bring that back within the sport, you know?
Like I think, like of all the players right now, I really think it's only like Nick is the only guy who's gonna like appeal to young people who like want to be cool.
Well, that's the only player that's kind of promoting or like has that flair that kids are looking for. And people, I guess the older generation, maybe people that are older than us, are wondering why Nick is like such an asshole or he's like why people still root for him. It's because he has that market that kids look up to in terms of flair and flashy
Hmm.
because of, well, not only his shoe was one of the coolest things I've seen because they marketed it as a basketball and tennis shoe.
Yeah, it was that was a great shoe. That's like one of the best tennis releases to come out, especially like widely available tennis releases for years and years.
And it's still, I think, when it first came out, it was going for a little bit over 200, but now you can get it for like a reasonable high performance shoe at like 140, 160, depending on which colorway you want.
Yeah, like the black and purple US Open one, that was in Canada on sale on Nike's website for months.
Really, it was on sale on the US site as well, and it was, I think it was less than 120, and I didn't pull the trigger on it, but I was so pissed at myself because I knew there wasn't going to be another opportunity to get it.
Yeah. For that one shoe, I think it's like the hot lava colorway is where it's at. Like
Did you like the triple whites, the white and green that he had for Wimbledon? Those were
stuff,
really nice.
those are nice too. Those I didn't see those available at all in Canada.
There was, I don't think I saw it once when it went on sale.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone found them. I think it was just his.
Yeah. And he wears some black ones as well. Like
The triple blacks were good. I saw
mhm.
those at it, it might have been Rome. I think he might have wore
I
those at
think
Rome.
on clay.
Yeah. How would you? Who's a player you would like to see have a signature shoe?
Well, I think TFO is like almost there.
He is. Same with Sinner. You saw the ones that I had in
Hmm.
Delray, right? Like he's ready to have his Nike logo. I think he just needs to start winning again.
Yeah, that like he's absolutely got the personality. He's like fun. He's got the trick shots. He's like a nice guy. Like met him a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Florida, he would be good. Um, I can't think of any really other like cool guys on
Isn't
the.
that isn't that weird though that we think of tennis and we follow tennis and we can't find someone to maybe find a sponsor for, not just a sponsor but a signature shoe, because in basketball I remember, I think it was earlier this year that Russell Westbrook said there should be only the four guys that have signature shoes in the NBA. There are too many people with signature shoes. In tennis, Federer, Rafa, Novak, Nick all have their own logo on their shoe.
Mhm.
And maybe we can count Stan for the Yonex, but it's not his shoe. You know what I mean?
Murray thing did, but I guess he's wearing Under Armour, which didn't actually sell his shoes.
Wait, they never sold his court shoes?
No. From what I read, he was just wearing like barricades with a different logo. So
Same
they,
with same with Zverev. You know what I mean? Like Zverev has his own logo on the Ubersonics.
yeah, and he's wearing the old version.
Yeah, he's been wearing, I think, the second version of it
Yeah.
for the last 2-3 years. But that surprises me because no one wants it. I don't know if that says anything about tennis and how you can market it to a younger audience, or it's because no one wants a signature tennis shoe.
I think this is what I find kind of weird too is I don't really know how often you go through shoes in basketball, but in tennis, like you're just beating up your shoe. It's like some guys, I'm sure in college, you going through like at least one pair a month if you're
Yeah.
spending hours a day on,
Hmm.
right? So like, do you want to like spend extra for a signature shoe that you're just gonna like destroy?
I mean, the problem is I don't know. That's a good question because I think for tennis, you can wear the same tennis shoe, I think, for probably competitively, maybe like 2-3 weeks if you're playing on hard court.
Yeah, and then the grooves are flat, and then
But the fact the shoe is just one version and they always give one particular shoe to a group amount of players.
mhm.
Like you always see Kyrie's on different players, you always see Jordan's on different players, you see KD's on different players. You don't see other players wearing Federer's signature shoe. You don't see other players wearing Rafa's signature shoe.
Yeah, they get their color.
They get
Like,
their color. There's no signature shoe for other players, you know?
mhm.
And I think people are, I don't know if that's a marketing thing or that's a tennis thing, but if you have a fan base, you would think the fan base would want to buy their favorite player's shoe.
Yeah, and sometimes like you can get their logo on it, but I guess there just might not be a big enough market for tennis.
Yeah, but
Like
everyone needs a shoe. Like every.
everyone. So I work at a tennis store, right?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, I work in Victoria where there's a notoriously huge senior population,
Mhm.
but people are like only wanting to buy shoes on sale. They don't want to spend like most people want to spend like $100, which that's like the cheapest we have. Like,
Well, yeah. And if you want a shoe that's like 5 years old and it's on sale for $50, yeah, they'll buy that shoe if they have to. If it's comfortable and they like it, they'll get it.
yeah. Um, I wonder if it would help if tennis was played more like at high school with like on a team because part of basketball's team mentality is the kids are like kind of competing for who's having the coolest shoes.
Yeah, and I think that's what a lot of kids were doing. For me, that was in high school when I had saw a kid with the OG Vapors with Federer's logo on the tongue, like the white one with the black swoosh. Like that. That for me was like the epitome of Roger's shoe in terms
Yeah,
of
totally.
it was so cool to look at. Like it was. I don't know what it was shiny. It looked sleek. It felt like you were looking at a brand new race car.
Maybe maybe because that's when like we were just getting into tennis, but now I feel like I don't care if I see Roger's shoe because I s- I need new shoes myself like every 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
So it's like I just get whatever I want. Okay, yeah, I don't get like the newest color, but it's still like the premium model.
Because I think that's in tennis as well. There's no culture around the shoe. There's never been a culture around the shoe. And I think now we're starting to see people get more into fashion and more into colorways that people like. I think I would look at a guy like Riley Opelka who's really into fashion and see him go to Fila and say, "Hey, look, I want this colorway. I want this signature shoe to like feel good." And I think for him, like that, like that should get like a ball rolling for some of these players to get so something customized at least to have some personality on court instead of that season's kit.
Okay, here's another hypothesis.
Mm-hmm.
So tennis season is so long. When do these guys have time to like go spend a few weeks at Fila headquarters working on a shoe?
Yeah, and That's a very good point, because I remember, and this is kind of off that idea. I remember when Dimitrov went to the Chicago headquarters for Wilson when they first started making custom rackets,
Yeah.
and he came out with his own racket. I feel like it would be one of those business trips for them, at least. They take maybe a couple days or a week in between tournaments, or like between like clay and grass season, or grass season and hard court, because those seasons are so long. They can probably take a week or two off with the smaller tournaments going on. So for me, it, or at least for them, they should take some time to show their creativity. And we're seeing that with this quarantine. A lot of them are trying to find new things to do and show off their hobbies. So why wouldn't they be able to, in this time, let's say, get on a Zoom call or start designing something with someone to produce something new for like their fans or for tennis itself?
Yeah, I would love to see something interesting happen at the end of this. Do I think that's going to happen? Not really.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it would be great. Like, yeah, I don't know if I feel like of all the companies doing that, I feel like there's a lot of tennis companies who used to be like classic tennis brands who
Mm-hmm.
like haven't changed their designs in like 30
Years.
years. Yeah.
Because I remember I was reading when I was doing my research for this, when I was reading about when Stan Smith first got his shoe. Someone, they originally had someone on the Adidas shoe first, and then they had Stan Smith on it. And then during the time of him, Rod Laver, they were wearing each other's shoes with their faces on it.
Yeah.
And you don't see that anymore with tennis. They want to make it exclusively for the player. They don't want to have it for anyone else. They can wear it if they want it, but I think because they play each other so much, they don't want each other to say like to see them wear that shoe.
And they also use top signature rackets too, like Jack Kramer, Wilson Jr. Like maybe it's just like not a thing people are into anymore. Like there's only two players with signature rackets right now. Serena, Roger.
No, Rafa does. He has the Aero Pure.
I have his name on it though.
Yeah, I. There's really not another player whose signature is on a racket.
Not that I know of. Like
Djokovic with head though.
Djokovic created the head created the speed for Djokovic, but it still doesn't have Djokovic written on it.
That's crazy. I never thought about that. Because I think, and I just don't understand why there shouldn't be a sneaker culture for tennis. Because
tennis just doesn't have culture in general. Like it's just country club culture. It's not appealing to us because it's just the only place we could play tennis. We didn't create that culture. That culture was just there when we arrived to tennis.
and it's hard to break that shell of being a country club sport, because for us, we see it in different ways and kids see it in different ways. And for us, we're following the path of what was left behind. And I think like and this goes to a bigger conversation of once the big three retire, Novak, Roger, and Rafa, when they all leave tennis, like what's going to happen? You might see a totally different league and a totally different ATP and WTA. I mean, the same thing with Serena. Like, how do you see that? Like, you can't. So it might turn into something new. It might turn into something worse.
We just need, like, I think tennis has like a pretty solid YouTube community, so it's starting somewhere.
Yeah.
With highlights, but media distribution, I think, hurts tennis.
That's a totally different conversation. I would love to get to you on that, because for me, that distribution is absolute garbage. And I think they need to realize if they want to share the sport, they need to let people use highlights. And it becomes a broader conversation about that, but I'm going to go on a tangent there. But for, I think, to wrap this up. Actually, before we wrap this up, I want to get your opinion on Serena's high top sneaker. The off-white. I actually think she did a really good job with the off-white sneaker to incorporate Nike and off-white into her US Open.
Her blazers?
No, the one she wore on court in 20. Was it the 2019 or the 2018?
2018.
Yeah, because that whole off-white collection that she had that wasn't sold to anyone, I liked how she was bringing that into the community for just to bring something different, because tennis needs that. They need that fashion sports collaboration, not just athleisure, but that I thought it was different. It didn't appeal to me, but I liked the initiative that she was trying to create, you know?
Yeah, I think Serena is totally undermarketed. Like she breaks the country club stereotype. Like her sister and her dad playing tennis on public courts in Compton out of a shopping cart, ball carrier. Like that's a pretty sick story.
The movie that they're creating for her with Will Smith as the dad looks really. I want to see that.
Yeah,
and I think the 30 for 30 that ESPN will hopefully, cross your fingers, make on them should really highlight how they grew up and the mold that they really broke on tennis itself.
Because there's no like Agassi's story is kind of similar, but I think you can tell by Serena and Venus's technique that they had a pretty different introduction to tennis.
Yeah, I think so too. So, Beckett, I really appreciate you coming on today and talking not just shoes, but tennis in general. This was a lot of fun. I really appreciate you coming on. If you guys want to go check out The Slice, I'll leave a link in it, link for their YouTube channel in the description below. So thank you guys so much for joining us, and make sure to go check out The Slice, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining. Hope to see you guys soon. Thanks, guys.
For having me.
No problem, Beckett.